أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, class, Assalamualaikum. So we continue our discussion on new topic, new chapter number 3, numerical descriptive measure. So under numerical descriptive measure, we're going to learn two big topics. First, measure of central tendency, and second, measure of dispersion. So we're going to look at the first topic, measure of central tendency. So measure of central tendency is a value used to represent a group of data distribution. So either quantitative or qualitative, right? You're going to measure the group of distribution of data using quantitative measure. Means measure menggunakan number lah, right? So basically, mean is used for quantitative data. Mode and median can be used under qualitative data and also qualitative data. For example, if we have data about the age of children playing in playground, we can find one value to represent the ages of children in the playground. Let's say you ada 30 children dekat playground. So you nak tahu berapa rata-rata berapa umur children tu. So you boleh menggunakan mean untuk measure age of the children. This value obtained is measure, we call it as a measure of central tendency. So measure of central tendency can be either mean, mode or median. Mean value of data, which we call it as average, means average. Middle value of the data means median, and the most frequent value of the data we call it as mode, right? So basically under measure of central tendency, you akan belajar tiga benda: median, mean and mode. And later on you akan belajar quartile and percentile, right? The most popular measure of central tendency is arithmetic mean or simply mean, right? So median and mode. Other measure we going to discuss in this chapter are quartiles and percentiles. So a group of data can be either ungrouped data or group data. So you kena tengok sini. This one dia beritahu dekat you. A group of data can be either ungrouped data or group data. Group data, we present it under frequency table. Right? Ungrouped data, they're scattered. Right? Data they're scattered. So ungrouped data is a group data. Ungrouped data is a group of data that is not given in the form of frequency table. Macam sama yang saya beritahu tadi. So while the group data is a group data that tabulate in the frequency table or frequency distribution. So let's look at the first topic under measure of central tendency, which is arithmetic mean. So arithmetic mean is commonly known as average of the data values. So kita tahu dia mean adalah average of data value. Arithmetic mean, or simply we call it as mean. So mean without S, right? It is the sum of all value of data observation divided by the number of data observation. So dia dah bagi tahu dekat you formula dekat sini. Apa maksud mean? Is the sum of all values of the data observation divided by the number of data observation. So it can be calculated for both ungrouped and group data. So now you look at the formula. We have for first formula for ungrouped data, second formula for group data. For ungrouped data, mean is calculated. Mean, the symbol for mean is X bar, right? Kalau I sebut X bar, you know as mean. This is a sample mean, right? Kalau parameter mean is mu. Kalau tulis betul-betul, parameter mean symbol is mu. This one sample mean, x bar. X bar is a sample mean. This one is a population mean. We call it as a parameter. This one is a sample statistic, parameter statistic. So the formula for ungrouped data, x bar equal to summation of x divided by number of observation, where summation of x equal to x1 plus x2 until xn, n equal to number of observation. Right. This one for ungrouped data. For group data, mean is computed by x bar equal to summation of fx divided by summation of f. So you tengok di sini, summation of fx bermaksud f you punya frequency multiply with x value, midpoint. Right. So whenever you have a range of data in the class, then you kena cari midpoint. Kalau you tidak ada range of data, you tak payah cari midpoint, terus dapat x value. So where summation of fx equal to f number 1 multiply with x number 1 plus f number 2 multiply with x number 2 plus until fn multiply with xn. And summation of f is your total frequency. Right. Boleh hafal dua-dua ni? So now look at your example. So for example number 3.1, so calculate the arithmetic mean for the following data. So first look at your data. From the data, you know that this is ungrouped data. They are not tabulated under frequency table. Right. So we know this is your ungrouped data. So for ungrouped data, formula should be summation of x divided by n. So summation of x bermaksud 5 plus 3 plus 8 until plus 25 divided by berapa nilai, berapa 8 lah, right? Jumlah observation, number observation. So basically you akan dapat 115 divided by 8 equal to 14.375. Boleh faham? If you have more than 5 decimal point, then you conclude until 4 decimal point only. Right. Kalau you ada 3, you ambil 3 saja. Kalau you ada 4, you ambil 4 saja. Kalau you ada 5, 6, lebih daripada 5, lebih daripada 4, so you conclude decimal point hanya kepada 4 decimal point saja. Boleh faham? So settle this one. For ungrouped data should be very easy. Now look at example number 3.2. For example number 3.2, this one you tengok, calculate the mean age for the following data. They given age by year and number of student. Right. So we know from this data, this is what we call it as group data, because it represent under frequency table. Dan you tengok dalam class, dia bagi dekat you exact value. Right, dia tak bagi dalam bentuk range. Right. So you sudah tahu dia adalah group data, so you akan pakai formula summation of fx divided by summation of f. So now to begin calculate the mean of this data, you need to create one additional column on the right hand side. One additional column on the right hand side. So what this column used for? This column represent fx. Boleh faham? So you calculate fx on this column. F equal to 10 for the first class, multiply with x 18, you should get 180. Right. And second class 532, and the third class 640, fourth class 315, and the last class should be equal to 110. Now look at the formula. Formula kata apa? Summation of fx divided by summation of f. Summation of fx bermaksud total of fx. Total of fx, you should get 1777. So now you sudah dapat the value. So next you just plug in into the formula. So x bar should be equal to 1777 divided by 90. So you should get berapa? 19.74. Right, betul. So this is your final answer for the question number, example number 3.2. So how to interpret this one? So how to interpret this value 19.74? So this value 19.74 means the average of age of the student is 19.74 years old. Boleh faham, ha? Boleh ikut? So I padam this one. Ini bermaksud the average of the student is 19.74 years old. So this is how you interpret the value of 19.74. Enough. Right. Boleh ikut? Ada soalan? Do you have any question for this? Should be very easy lah. So now I cuba buat satu example lagi. So I menggunakan let's use Excel. So it should be very easy. So paste. Now Excel, example number 3.3, calculate the arithmetic mean or simply mean for the given group data. So now dia sudah mention ke you group data. Kita tak payah fikir panjang lah. Tapi kalau tak mention pun you sudah tahu. Right, this is under group data because it's tabulated under frequency table. Now you look at the class given. Each class is rangeable, right? Dia dalam bentuk range, right? 700 until 799, 800 until 899. So tengok formula, x bar should be equal to summation of fx divided by summation of f. So daripada first column ni you tidak dapat lagi detect x value. This is not x value. So what happen? You need to create another table, another column on the right hand side to calculate your x value. Right, this one I tak payah buat macam ni lah. Itu standar dalam sini, dalam table lah. So I bagi table. So let's say this one for class number 1, class number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. So you ada 6. So this one we call it x value. X value is your class mark. X value, how to get x value? You need to calculate your class mark. So class mark, formula for class mark, upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. So 799 plus 700 divided by 2, you should get 749.5. For the second class, 849.5. And the fourth class, 1049.5. You tahu macam mana nak dapatkan value ni? Upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. And the last class should be 1249.5. So this is your class mark. Class mark represent your X value. So satisfy you punya formula lah, X value dekat sini. Right. So now apa you kena buat? Create another column to calculate your Fx. So Fx should be equal to X multiplied with F. So 749.5 multiplied with 8. So you akan dapat 5996. Sorry, I tak boleh buat dekat sini. 5996. And the second class 11,043.5, 13,293, and last fourth 10,495, 28,737.5, and last is 4,998. Right, boleh kot? So you tengok formula, summation of Fx divided by summation of F. So you sudah dapat Fx. So summation of Fx bermaksud total lah. So you kena totalkan this one. So you akan dapat 74,563. Right. So to obtain X value, X bar should be equal to 74,563 divided by 74, which is your summation of F. Right, you nampak? So this one should be equal to berapa? 1007.608. Right. Kalau you boleh conclude, monthly income is your RM. Kalau RM you buat macam mana? You buat 2 decimal point cukup. Kalau melibatkan duit, 2 decimal point cukup. Boleh faham? Boleh ikut? So to interpret this one, the average income of 74 employee is RM 1007.61. Cukup? Boleh nampak? Boleh ikut? Boleh Sudah? Right. Now we move on to example number 3.4. 3.4 benda yang sama juga. So I just crop this one and paste on the second sheet. Okay. Now example number 3.4, calculate the monthly income for the following data. So you know from the data they give you a frequency table. Then this is your group data. They lies under group data. Right. So again there is no X given. They give you data, range data. So next apa yang kena buat? Calculate. What happened now? This is the problem using Microsoft. Kalau I guna iPad tak keluar macam ni. So X value is your class mark. So the first class 500 plus 500 plus 700 divide by 2. So you should get 600. The second class 800, 1000. Fourth class 1200, and the fifth class is 1400. Boleh ikut? Well, this one should be very easy lah. Mean should be very easy. Siapa yang fail buat mean, you kena usaha lagi lah. Right? I tak mau sebut perkataan teruk. So the next step, create another column on the right hand side beside X or your class mark, create your fx value. So fx class mark multiply with frequency. So 600 multiply with 4, you should get 2400, and this one 12,000, 6,000, this one 14,400, and last is 11,200. Right, now look at the formula again. So every time bila you nak start buat apa-apa analysis, tengok formula summation of fx divided by summation of f. So summation of f given, right? Now you need to calculate summation of fx. So this is your fx. This is your fx. So summation of fx should be equal to 46,000, right? 46,000. So once you sudah dapat value summation of fx, summation of f, what you need to do is just plug in into the formula. Plug in into the formula this value and this value, plug in into the formula. So the formula 46,000, this one should be equal to x bar divide by 45. So you akan berapa you dapat? So 46,000 divided by 45, sorry, 1022.22. So what does it mean? It means that the average of monthly income for 45 employee is RM 1022.22. Boleh ke? Boleh? Can we move on? We move on to example number 3.5. So example number 3.5, let me crop this one. So I put in the sheet number. This sama lah. Now again, there is no x given. Then apa? Calculate mean for the flowing data. You know, this is a frequency table, so you have group data, right? You have group data, so no x given. So what you need to do, calculate x value for each class. So class mark is your x value, right? Class mark upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. So now you tengok sini, less than 700 dekat sini, less than 700, bawah ni dia tak bagi dekat you, right? So 1,900 and above, atas dia tak bagi dekat you. You tengok dekat atas ni, dekat sini, setiap kelas dia ada diberi class boundary, right? Bila you diberi class boundary, you boleh calculate class size. So upper class boundary minus lower class boundary divided by 2. Sorry, not divided by 2, minus saja, right? Upper class boundary minus lower class boundary. So 1,000 minus 700, you dapat 300. So the lower class limit for the first class should be equal to berapa? 400. Should be equal to 400 lah, right? And this one berapa? 1,900 less than berapa? 2,200, right? You tahu itu, boleh faham? Boleh ikut? So now to calculate x for the class mark, first class mark 700 plus 400 divided by 2. Berapa you dapat? Ya? 150. 550, right? Right. 1,000 plus 700 divided by 2, 850. And this one 1150, 150,
1750,
and last
2050.
2050. Right. Now you sudah dapat class mark. Boleh faham? Class mark you tak payah cari total, sebab kita tak perlukan total dalam class mark. Sebab kalau kita tengok boleh formula X bar summation of fx divide by summation of f. Tidak ada summation of x di sini. Boleh faham ha? So apa you kena buat, you calculate, you create another column on the left hand side, on the right hand side. Calculate fx x multiply with f. So 550 multiply with 3, you should get 1650. And last second 4250. Third 25,300. 24,650. 28,000. And last is 14,350. So fx you kena cari total, right? The total for fx should be equal to berapa? 98,200. So now you punya value sudah cukup untuk plug in into formula, right? You kutip the value, plug in into the formula. You got 98,200 divided by 70. So berapa you akan dapat? 982220 divided by 70. So you akan dapat 1402.86. So this is with regard to income. So 86 sudah cukup. So you buat 2 decimal point. So how to interpret this one? The average of monthly income for 70 employee is RM 1402.86. Right. Boleh kot? Now we done. We sudah habis mean. Right. Now look at median.